Hello students, our today's topic is moving coil galvanometer, that is our 11th topic of the chapter moving coil galvanometer. Now before we start to understand what is the galvanometer and how it is constructed, first we see what is the use of a galvanometer, where the galvanometer is used. So galvanometer is used to detect the presence of it is used to detect the presence of electric current. So if we want to detect whether the current is flowing or not from the circuit, we generally use galvanometer, and we have to remember that it is a very sensitive device. We will see why we call a galvanometer a very sensitive device. It is also used to measure, so sometimes we also use to measure small electric current. When we say a small electric current, it means the order of milliampere or microampere. So 1 ampere we know is a very large unit of a current. So sometimes we also use it to measure a small electric current. So this is the use of a galvanometer. Now we can say it is based on principle of torque acting on current loop in magnetic field. So we did this topic where we have taken a rectangular loop and the torque act on it was mb sin theta, or if it has the n turns, the torque acting was BINA, beta sin theta. So it is based on the same principle, because this moving coil galvanometer is nothing but it consists of a coil which is suspended in a radial magnetic field. Now when we did the theory, the coil was in a uniform magnetic field. Here the magnetic field is fixed, but it is radial. So we will see what is a radial magnetic field and why we take a radial magnetic field here. So generally we call it that the principle is simply a torque act on current loop in a magnetic field. Now in this galvanometer we have a rectangular loop having n turns suspended in radial magnetic field. We will come to this radial magnetic field. So first of all, we try to understand its construction by a simple diagram. Now let us consider a cylindrical magnet. So these are the cylindrical magnets. Now this cylindrical magnets will produce a radial magnetic field. So here we have the radial magnetic field. Instead of a straight or uniform magnetic field, we have radial magnetic field. We know that a magnetic field will be from north to south. The other portion, because it is curved, the magnetic field lines will not be a straight line. So we will see why we use this. First we try to understand the basic concept. So instead of a bar magnet, we have here used a cylindrical magnet. So again, when we did the theory, we were having the two bar magnet, north and south, and the rectangular loop was suspended. The concept remains same, the torque formula remains same, but we have a cylindrical magnet here. Now let us say one loop is hanging in it. So we are first trying to understand the basic principle with the help of a basic diagram. So this is a wire. Let us say it is suspended in a magnetic field. It have a n turns. Then we will see here we have a spring, and this is the other end from which a current will be sent. So this is one end from which the current will enter into this coil. We assume that there is a cylindrical there is a radial magnetic field. Now this is the situation. This is your spring. Generally we also have the spring here, so we have two springs. Now these are not suspended in air, so we will shift our construction in a detailed way. Now when this loop is suspended and the current is sent through these two ends, suppose current I enters, so this current I start flowing in this rectangular loop, and then this current I comes out. So as soon as the current flow, we know the torque act on it. More is the current flowing through the coil, more will be the deflection of the pointer. So if you have seen the galvanometer, we have this a scale where this is 0, and then we have a marking here. Let us say it is 1 microampere, 2 microampere and 3 microampere. Similarly, on other side 1, 2 and 3. Say this is a microampere, and the capital G is written with the range or order of microampere. So this is a scale, this is a pointer. This pointer is connected to a spring, and this spring then goes into a rectangular turns like this, and this is it is placed in a cylindrical magnet. So like this the current start and from this one end the current enters, and from the other end the current comes out. So this is how the galvanometer is constructed. Now as soon as the current start flowing in it, the torque will act, and depending upon the magnitude of the current, this coil is deflected. So if 1 microampere of current is flowing through this coil, the pointer, this is our pointer, will deflect to 1 or 2 micro, 3 micro, like that. More is the current, more is the deflection. It means current should be directly proportional to the deflection. Let us denote the deflection by phi. So it is nothing but an angle. So if I say from 0 to 1, it makes a 30 degree. Then 1 to 2, again 30 degree. So it is total 60 degree. Like this the deflection take place. So current is directly proportional to the deflection. More current, more torque, and more deflection. So it should be clear that as soon as the current start flowing, the deflection of the coil in a radial magnetic field also increases. Now how we do this? Suppose this is a rectangular loop. So this is a rectangular loop having n turns. So this is a rectangular loop. Now if I place it like this, and if I consider only this line, because we will see the magnetic field lines will not be straight for the remaining portion, then the area vector, now if I see the current flowing here is in anti-clockwise direction. So current is in anti-clockwise direction. I curl my fingers in anti-clockwise. I find area vector is coming out. That is 90 degree. Or we also know that the magnetic moment M is equal to Ia vector. The direction of Ia vector is same as that of M vector, or you can say M vector have a same direction as that of A vector. That is the magnetic moment. So magnetic moment is outward if the rectangular loop is placed like this. But actually let us rotate it by a small angle. So that same concept, this is your M vector and B is along the x-axis. Now let us assume that this coil rotates by a small angle like this. So this pointer, which was initially showing the zero deflection, will also turn either on this side or this side depending in which direction the current is being passed. So suppose I rotate it by a small angle. So what will happen? Magnetic field will remain like this. This was your magnetic moment is shift like this. More the coil shift or more the coil deflect, this magnetic moment will move towards this, in the direction of the magnetic field. And we know that when they becomes parallel, the torque becomes zero. So that is the situation, the torque will become zero. At the same time, we have two springs also. Now when this coil is twisted or it is rotated, the spring on one side or upper side say start compressing. Now when the spring is compressed, we have a restoring torque also. So this is the work. When the current flow the work is done on this rectangular loop, it get twisted, the spring is compressed, the spring at the other end near this is open up. Is this spring open up and this spring is compressed like this. So why it is compressing? Because this coil is deflected. So this when we switch off the current, this spring will open up and bring the coil back to its original position, because as soon as the current is switched off, this pointer come back to the zero. That is, this is our scale. So the restoring, like we have a restoring force. When we stretch or compress a spring, the opposing force is there, which was called a restoring force. Here, because the torque act on the loop, we call it a restoring torque. We will come to that point. So for the time being, this rectangular loop is not like this. It is, let us assume it is making some angle theta, or let that angle be denoted by phi. So if you pass more current, more will be the deflection, more will be the torque acting on it. Now let us see the another diagram. Here to understand the construction, we have taken the loop like this. But now suppose the loop is moved or it is twisted by some angle. So earlier M vector, which was radially outward, was making the 90 degree. Now this coil is twisted. So this your M vector or the magnetic moment direction is like this. That is, the rectangular loop is rotating, is trying to rotate. Now if we don't have a spring, what will happen? As soon as we pass a current, the torque act on it. We know that if it is kept at some angle, it behave like a dipole. So if the coil is kept like this, the torque is zero because angle is zero. But at 90 degree, the torque acting is maximum. So it will align in the direction of the field. So we keep a screw, we have taken a spring. So as soon as it start rotating, one of the spring is compressed and the other spring open up. And the pointer is connected to this via a spring. So as it start rotating in it, the pointer will also move. So it will be the situation like this. As soon as it start, this is a pointer. The pointer is like this. As it's rotate, the pointer will also rotate. It will start showing the deflection due to the torque acting. Now what was the torque acting? Now this is your applied torque. Applied torque means when we pass a current, the formula becomes BINA, bina sin theta. This was, what was theta? Theta was angle between A vector and B vector. So theta, if theta keeps on changing, the torque applied also keep on changing. So here, this is the torque applied, means when the current is passed, this coil start deflecting. Now see, this formula was valid when we have taken a uniform magnetic field, not a radial magnetic field. So we will see why we have taken the radial field. Now, when this coil start rotating inside the magnetic field, one of the spring is getting compressed because the work is done against it. So if this is our say coil, when it start rotating, it is twisting like this, it is moving say in anti-clockwise direction or a clockwise direction. This is your rectangular loop. So when the spring is compressed, because this rectangular loop is not connected directly with this fine wire, it is connected via spring. So here the spring, if there is a spring, it start compressing. And if this coil tries to rotate anti-clockwise direction, the restoring force will be in the clockwise direction. But as long as the current is flowing, this spring keeps on compressing. So less deflection, less compression. So suppose it shows 1 microampere, then more deflection, the pointer moved to 2, more compression, more deflection, again compress. At one stage, when there is a maximum deflection, now when there will be the maximum deflection in the torque? Only when theta is 90. So we will create a situation where this theta should always remain 90 degree. Now because if we don't use a cylindrical magnets, the theta will keep on changing and therefore tau applied will also change. So we will create a situation where we want to eliminate this theta, means we will create a magnetic field in such a way that angle between area vector and theta will always remain 90 degree, that is maximum torque act on it. But when 1 ampere current is passed, it should stop. So this spring is compressed. So this spring is doing the work against this applied torque. So this torque is been rotating. We will call that deflection, or we will denote that deflection by phi. This is also an angle. This is a different angle. This theta is angle between B vector and A vector. Now suppose this pointer comes to this point. This deflection is your phi. This deflection is your phi. Now tau applied is beta sine theta. Then we call it a restoring torque. Like we have a restoring force. So its magnitude, we write K into phi. That is, K is called torsional constant. We call it a torsional constant. And this is the angle of twist. This is the angle of twist. So if we pass 1 microampere current, this coil will be deflected say by 30 degree, then 60 degree like this. It will not be a 90 degree. The spring will break down. So it has some range starting from 0. Say this is 15 degree, 30 degree, and say this is 45 degree. Like this we have to fix, or we calibrate the scale. That portion is called the calibration of the scale. So when this two becomes equal, suppose this after rotating by say 15, angle of twist is 15 degree, which is very large. Say this is 15 degree. Then the restoring torque is equal to the applied torque. The spring is now compressed. So one spring is compressed, other open up. As soon as the current is switched off, there is no current becomes 0, applied torque becomes 0. So who will bring this loop back to its original position? So spring that is compressed will open up, and the spring which was opened up get compressed. So again it come back to its original position. So like this how the galvanometer works. So now when a balanced situation is obtained, means the pointer is steady, it is showing some current, I can write K phi is equal to beta sine theta. Therefore, now if we see this all are constants. This all are constant. So here we need I is proportional to phi. So B is constant, number of turns constant, area constant, K is constant. Now if we take a uniform magnetic field, that is we use a bar magnet, then theta creates a problem. Now we need to eliminate this sine theta, and it can be eliminated when this theta is made 90 degree. So now we construct the correct form of a galvanometer where the theta will always remains 90 degree. Now we have to create a radial magnetic field. So we take a help of a soft iron core. Now this is a soft iron core in the form of a cylinder. A soft iron core, name is clear, it is made up of iron, it is very soft and the shape is cylindrical. Now why we take a soft iron core? Because it is a strong, or it is a ferromagnetic substance, and this ferromagnetic substance is magnetized easily as compared to the para or die. Die cannot be magnetized. However, this is a ferromagnetic substance because it is magnetized very easily. So now this is how the galvanometer is constructed. We take a soft iron core. On its upper and the lower end, we have a small pin, like we have a pin, but we call it a pivot. We call it a pivot. So you have to take a small cylinder like this, and we have a small pin on both the side, which is called pivot. On one side of the pivot, we have one spring, and on another side we have another spring. Say here, if the spring rotation is like this, here it is opposite, because one spring should be compressed, other spring should open up. So this is your spring pivot, and then we have a small thin wire. This is a very small fine wire, and from this an output is taken. From here also we have a small support is given there. So from this we enter a current, and now from this end we form a rectangular loop. So this is how the rectangular loop is. The support is given by the pivot. So let us redraw it. So this is a spring, this is pivot, this is a soft iron core. Again, the spring is wound in opposite as the upper from this end. Now the rectangular loop is wound here like this. And this is connected to the pivot. It is wound around the pivot. So this is the construction, and again it is kept between the two cylindrical bar magnet. Now when the current enters, again this will be the pointer. Here we have a scale. So this is the pointer initially 0 when no current is passing, and as soon as the current passes, the pointer starts showing the deflection. So the spring get compressed. Now let us see the top view. We have to see a top view. Now why we keep this soft iron core? Now it is a ferromagnetic substance. It gets magnetized easily. Now we will draw the diagram from the top. It means you have to see this diagram from the top. This is your eye. So this is how we will draw the next diagram, where we try to see the construction from the top, that is the top view. Now in the top view, this is the circle. So it is not actually a circle, it was our soft iron core which is seen from the top. So you will see this circle only. So it is going downward, it is a soft iron core, but we are viewing from the top. This is your cylindrical magnet. Again, if I see it from the top, I will see a semicircle only. So this will be the semicircle. So this is North Pole and this is South Pole. It was in the form of a cylinder like this. You are viewing from the top. So this is the top of a soft iron core. Now, and these are our wires. This is the wire having n number of turns. Now what will happen? This is the magnetic field straight. Now because it is a soft iron core, it gets magnetized and therefore it try to pull all the magnetic field lines towards it. So the magnetic field lines will be like this. This is called the radial magnetic field. This is called the radial magnetic field line. So this is how the top view look. That is, the magnetic field lines are not straight but they are radial. We call it radial. And this is our n turns. Now this was our pointer and this was a scale. Now when we view it from the top, this coil, we will see the number of turns. These are the wires. This is the first turn, second turn, like this. You are seeing the turn. Now when it's get deflected, suppose the pointer is deflected. Let us say the pointer is deflected towards this side. Now what will happen on this side? At that time, we will consider, suppose the pointer is deflected like this, I will take this magnetic field line. So the magnetic field line, suppose the pointer is deflected like this will be the magnetic field line. So what will be the angle? 90 degree. This will be the 90 degree angle. So the magnetic field lines you have to take that of wire only. So when this is deflected, this is the top view. Now the wire is deflected. This is the situation. I am viewing this portion. These pages are the number of turns. Now when it get deflected, this is one wire. This is the wire. Now magnetic moment is in this direction. That was radially outward. So I want the 90 degree angle with the magnetic field. So now I will not take this magnetic field as a straight line. Which magnetic field will be taken? Which makes an angle 90 degree with it. So this is my magnetic moment. This coil is like this. So we take this line, the magnet. All the other magnetic field lines will pass through the iron core. And from the top view, we will be taking this magnetic field lines if it is deflected towards this side. So see, this angle becomes 90 degree. This is our wire. This is our wire. So when there is no deflection, these are the number of turns. These are the number of turns. But as it gets deflected, this will be your line. So this is my line. And because I want the angle to be 90 degree, this is the wire, this is a magnetic moment. So we take this line, half of this and half of this. This is our wire. So we take this magnetic field line. Now this angle comes out to be 90 degree. Suppose this pointer move towards that side, opposite side. This is your 0. So suppose this pointer moves like that. So at that time, this wire also turn to this side. Now the deflection is towards this side. Now this is the magnetic moment. It should always make 90 degree with the magnetic field lines. So our magnetic field lines earlier, when there was no cylindrical magnet, it is like this. Now I have to make a 90 degree. So I will take this magnetic field lines like this. It makes an angle of 90 degree. So I will take, when this pointer is deflected towards this side, so instead of this line, we take this line. Again, this angle, suppose this pointer now turn towards this side. So we take this line of magnetic field line, and this is your pointer, or say M vector. This is your, say, M vector. We are taking using that M vector on the pointer. So the magnetic field lines will be taken. This is emerging from the North Pole. Then this core become magnetized. So this magnetic field lines pass through this, and we take this angle. So this angle always remains 90 degree. It means in the tau applied, every time we have a formula bina only, the area vector, which was, so when we don't have a cylindrical magnets, the field lines are straight. So if you take a bar magnet like this, then this is the field lines. Now when we take a cylindrical magnets, it is like this. No two field lines can intersect each other. In between, we have a core. So it is like this. If I take this as a small dipole, this is north, south, then north, again this is south. So the field lines is completed like this with the help of this core. This is one line. So say this is north, inside, or this south, then north, and again this is our south pole. So now the small magnetic dipoles are formed. Now the pointer is connected not directly to the core. We have a spring on it. So that spring get compressed or open up. Anyway, this radial magnetic field always makes an angle 90 degree with the pointer, or you can say our area vector. So if we have this as a coil, this as a pointer connected to it, the area vector, initially if I keep like this is the magnetic moment. Now when it starts its deflection, the magnetic moment is to this side. Magnetic field, if it is straight like this, it makes an angle. But instead of this magnetic field lines, I will take this magnetic field lines. So you have to you try to understand this. This is the initial situation. This is our rectangular loop. We are seeing from top that this pages becomes the number of turns. This is the case. Twisted. It start rotating. If our magnetic field lines are a straight line with the help of a bar magnet, then there is an angle. But now what we will do, we cannot control this because the coil has to rotate. Torque will act on it. So we want the magnetic field to be radial. So when it rotates like this, I will take this magnetic field line, this side. It will make a 90 degree. So like that. If it rotates on this side, again magnetic moment is on this side. So I take this magnetic field lines. That is this magnetic field line. So every time the angle is 90 degrees. So this is torque applied. And what was the restoring torque? Restoring torque is equal to K phi. Now, when the pointer becomes steady, the steady current is flowing through it, so it can deflect and stop. Why it stop? Because on a wire, this is suppose a rectangular wire, there is a twist. So the restoring torque act opposite to it. So when the spring is fully compressed, then I can write K phi is equal to beta. So this is the formula when the pointer shows a steady current. So this is the galvanometer, and the deflection phi can be written as beta upon K, where K is a torsional constant that is fixed for a spring. So now how the calibration is been done? We know B is there, N is there, A and K, all these terms are constant. Now suppose I pass 1 microampere current and this angle, this angle should be in radian, this comes out to be in radian, but let us take it comes out to be 1 degree when I pass 1 microampere. So how I will calibrate? The pointer initially will be at 0, the coil will be like this initially. Then if 1 microampere is passed and say the degree comes out to be let us take a large value 10 degree. So at 10 degree I will label 1 microampere. Then I pass 2 ampere current, find out nu phi. Then I put a calibration to be 2. Like this the calibration is done on the scale. So phi is equal to beta upon K, where now that theta is eliminated and it is clear that deflection is directly proportional to the current. More is the current passing through this, more is the deflection. Now let us define a new physical quantity. Now let us define a new quantity that is called current sensitivity. Now current sensitivity means a small amount of current produce large deflection of a pointer, or it shows a large deflection. So if I pass a small current, the deflection, this is your deflecting angle, it should be very large. So current sensitivity is equal to, now how will you remember? Small amount of current should be small and deflection should be large. So it becomes I small, current sensitivity should be high, deflection large. So small amount of current, if it produces a large deflection, we say the sensitivity of a galvanometer is very high. See, I is small, then phi is large, so current sensitivity will be very large. So small amount of current produce large deflection, then we can say the galvanometer is very sensitive. Moreover, we have seen that a small rectangular loop is held. These are the very thin wires having N turns. So passing a large amount of current through the galvanometer will completely damage it. So we use a galvanometer to measure a micromilliampere. Now current sensitivity formula becomes phi upon I. So from this, phi upon I can be written as BAN ban upon K. So this is the formula. One formula. What is the current sensitivity? So current sensitivity is the ratio of the deflecting angle to the current. Small is the current, more is the deflection. So current sensitivity is high. So increasing BAN, then the current sensitivity will be increased, or K should be small. So if you increase a area, the size of the device will increase. So increasing the area to increase the current sensitivity is not advisable. B, again, if you want a large larger value of a magnetic field, the magnet should be large. Again, not feasible. So one easy way is to increase or decrease the number of turns. If you increase the number of turns, the current sensitivity will increase. K should be small. Now K is a torsional constant. So the wire which we used should be of a specific material. So generally this is a K is a torsional constant. So generally the spring we used is of phosphor bronze or a wire which we used is a phosphor brown, or it should be a quartz wire, so that their value of K is very less. So this is how the current sensitivity will be changed. So for calibration, we use this concept that we pass a small amount of current and it should produce a large deflection. Now if we know the current sensitivity, we can easily find out the voltage sensitivity. Now what is voltage sensitivity? Voltage sensitivity will be equal to phi upon V. Phi upon V, that is deflection per unit voltage. See here the unit will become radian per ampere. So if I say 5 radian per ampere, it means passing 1 ampere of current will deflect the pointer by 5 radian. So this value is in the micro and milli, say it is milliampere. So the pointer deflected will be, this pointer will be, if the pointer deflect by 5 radian, then this should be 1 milliampere. So it is used for a calibration. Now voltage sensitivity is phi upon V. This can be written as phi upon IR, that is Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. So here this becomes BAN band upon K, that is phi upon I multiplied by R. So voltage sensitivity is equal to band upon KR. So these are the two formulas which are helpful to us in the next topic, that is galvanometer can be converted into an ammeter and voltmeter. So we know we will see another devices that are ammeter and voltmeter. Ammeter is used to measure the current and voltmeter is used to measure the potential difference between any 2 points in the circuit. So this galvanometer can be easily converted into ammeter and voltmeter. Now remember, it may be possible that current sensitivity is changed but the voltage sensitivity remains constant. Now how it is possible? Suppose, you have to remember, it is not necessary that if current sensitivity changes, the voltage sensitivity will also change. But from the formula it appears that because we have used band upon KR, so if band upon KR changes, we feel the voltage sensitivity will also change. Now this is not the case. You remember this important note. Suppose the turn is doubled, that is the number of turns becomes twice, say 2n, then what will happen to current sensitivity? So this current sensitivity will also become 2 times. Current sensitivity will also becomes 2 times because n is doubled. Now if n is doubled, sometimes we use this that n is double, so voltage sensitivity is also double. Now if you increase the number of turns, if you increase this number of turns, what is increased? The length of the wire has been increased. So what will be the length of the wire? Length will also become double. Length will also become, say nu L will be equal to twice the initial. So if I increase the number of turns, the length will also become double, and we know that resistance is directly proportional to length. So what will happen? If the length is doubled, the resistance is also doubled, and if the resistance is doubled, so this R is doubled, this N is doubled, 2 again get cancelled, so voltage sensitivity remains constant. So if the number of turns are doubled, the current sensitivity become double but voltage sensitivity remain same. Yes, if you change this areas, then there is a possibility that the voltage sensitivity may change, but changing the number of turns increases the, so if I increase the number of turns, current sensitivity will increase but voltage sensitivity remains constant. So this is all about we have for a galvanometer. We will see this device in the laboratory where we will try to understand how the theta 90 degree is maintained between the pointer or the magnetic moment or area vector and the magnetic field. Till then, have a nice day.